Alaskan lawmakers are pushing for legislation that would allow large foreign-flagged cruise ships to sail to Alaska without having to make a stop in Canada. A new bill was introduced by Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski on September 23. Titled Cruising for Alaska's Workforce Act, the legislation calls to permit under certain conditions the transportation of passengers between the state of Alaska and other United States ports on vessels not qualified to engage in the coastwise trade that transport more than 1,000 passengers, and for other purposes. She said that Passenger Vessel Services Act, PVSA, first introduced in 1886, has put Alaskan businesses at the mercy of the Canadian government. It nearly wiped out Southeast Alaskan economies as we saw business after business ready to welcome visitors, but unable to because Canadians would not respond to our requests to allow foreign stops at their ports to meet the requirement of PVSA. We cannot let that happen again, Senator Murkowski said. While another bill submitted by Alaska Congressman Don Young, in summer 2021, calls to deem certain voyages transporting passengers between ports or places within the United States in compliance with certain requirements upon calling on a port owned by an Indian tribe, and for other purposes. In the bill documentation, the term Indian tribe is explained as any federally recognized Indian tribe, band, nation, village, or other organized group or community, and any Alaska Native village or regional or village corporation as defined in or established pursuant to the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. In the realm of the current regulation, temporarily paused because of the pandemic, the PVSA, this would mean that Alaska ports owned by local indigenous tribes would be considered foreign. According to industry sources, one such port that would qualify as native land would be Icy Strait Point. However, sailing to Alaska without stopovers in Canada can hurt Canadian tourism and economy sectors, claim Canadian authorities. It could be very damaging, Ian Robertson, CEO of the Greater Victoria Harbour Authority, told CBC. We need to take this legislation very seriously. He said that Vancouver is unlikely to be badly hurt as many cruise ships start and finish itineraries there, but Victoria is at risk. Robertson said that British Columbia needs to work with the cruise industry to lobby to Washington to do what we can to make sure this legislation does not get passed. With its sixth ship resuming service today, Norwegian Cruise Line is returning to New York City. Sailing from Manhattan, the Norwegian Breakaway is welcoming guests back for a Bermuda cruise after an 18-month operational pause. Through October 31st, the 145,000-ton vessel is set to sail from the Manhattan Cruise Terminal every Sunday, offering its week-long Bermuda voyages. With an overnight call in Kings Wharf, Bermuda's main cruise port, and 4 days at sea, the cruises also offer plenty of time to enjoy the ship. Built in 2013, the Norwegian Breakaway is known for its dining and entertainment options, which includes the 678 Ocean Place. A central complex on decks 6, 7, and 8, the area is the hub of the ship, featuring several dining options, a selection of bars and lounges, an 18,000 square foot casino, entertainment venues, and retail outlets. On its top decks, the 4,000 guest ship offers the Aqua Park, a complete water park with 5 full-size water slides. Another open-air feature is a 3-story sports complex that includes the largest ropes course at sea, a 9-hole miniature golf course, basketball court, rock climbing wall, and more. After a dry dock in 2018, the vessel debuted refreshed public areas and introduced a new bar and lounge concept to the fleet with Sid Norman's Port House. Modeled after influential rock houses such as CBGB's, The Rainbow, and others, Sid Norman's features a vintage look, diner-style seating, signature cocktails, and a playlist of rock from the late 1960s to 1980s. In 2020, during the operational pause, the Breakaway underwent another dry dock, receiving additional updates. Work carried out included large bridge and stateroom refits, and the installation of scrubbers and new propellers. After her Bermuda season, the Norwegian Breakaway is set to relaunch service from New Orleans. Following a 14-night repositioning voyage, the vessel arrives in the Big Easy on November 21st, starting a series of week-long Western Caribbean itineraries. After a long operational pause, Norwegian Cruise Line resumed revenue services in July, with the Norwegian Jade. Based in Piraeus, the vessel launched a program of destination-intensive cruises in Greece. In August, the brand expanded its restart to Alaska and the Caribbean with the Norwegian Encore sailing from Seattle and the Norwegian Gem resuming service from Miami. More recently, the Norwegian Epic and the Norwegian Getaway welcomed guests back in Europe, offering additional itinerary choices in the Mediterranean. On October 24th, a seventh Norwegian ship is set to resume service, as the Norwegian Bliss departs Los Angeles to start a series of Mexican Riviera cruises. The Port of Seattle said that it is requiring its 2,200 employees to become vaccinated by November 15, 2021. The announcement follows similar requirements in federal, state, and local governments nationally and in Washington state. The port said that science shows that the vaccine prevents the spread of COVID and significantly lowers your chance of being hospitalized or dying from COVID. Right now we are not seeing the level of vaccinations that will curb the spread of the disease and mitigate its deadly impacts, Port of Seattle's executive director, Steve Metruk said. We are committed to taking every step necessary to stop the spread of COVID. We owe it to ourselves, our families, the most vulnerable who cannot receive the vaccine, and our community, he added. Port employees have access to all three major vaccines, according to a press release. Port Human Resources representatives will verify the vaccination status of all employees with an in-person validation at port work sites. Limited exemptions to the condition of employment will be considered for religious or medical reasons, the port said. Princess Cruises is back cruising on the West Coast, as the Grand Princess receives its first guests in Los Angeles today. After an 18-month operational pause, the vessel is resuming service with a series of short cruises to Mexico and the California coast. For its first sailing, the 2,600 guest ship is offering a 5-night voyage that features an overnight visit to Cabo San Lucas. Before returning to Los Angeles, the cruise also includes 2 full days at sea. The 4- and 5-night getaway cruises will continue to be offered through November 5th, and include calls in San Diego, San Francisco, and Ensenada. After that, the Grand Princess is poised to offer longer itineraries to the Mexican Riviera and the California coast. On December 5th, for instance, the vessel offers a special 10-night cruise to Baja California and the Sea of Cortez, visiting Loreto, La Paz, Puerto Vallarta, and Cabo San Lucas. Built in Italy, the 109,000-ton Grand Princess entered service in 1998. At the time, it was the largest cruise ship in the world, with capacity for over 2,600 guests. First in a series of 11 ships in the Grand class, the vessel saw a major refurbishment in 2011. Dubbed the most extensive dry dock in Princess Cruises history, the refit added many of the brand's trademark features introduced since the ship's debut, including the signature Piazza Atrium. The Grand Princess also received the Alfredo's Pizzeria and the Crown Grill, and Princess First specialty tea lounge called Leaves. Other new features included 7 new window suites, a remodeled casino, boutiques, and art gallery, enhancements to the Horizon Court, Lotus Spa, and Wedding Chapel, and the addition of Crooner's Martini Lounge. In order to increase its operational performance, the vessel also lost its iconic Skywalker nightclub. To replace it, Princess created the 1-5, a lounge inspired by urban nightclubs, which, according to the company, offers a cool vibe, contemporary seating and lighting, and a dramatic backlit bar. With the Grand Princess, Princess Cruises now has 4 cruise ships in revenue service, including the 2019-built Sky Princess. Along with the Regal Princess, the vessel is offering British Islands and Western Europe itineraries from Southampton, England. As the first vessel to welcome the Princess guests back in the US, the Majestic Princess is currently wrapping up a season in Alaska. Starting on October 6, the vessel is set to join the Grand Princess in Los Angeles, offering a series of Mexican Riviera and California coast cruises. By the end of the year, Princess plans to have 8 ships in service, offering cruises from Port Everglades, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. And that concludes our latest cruise news updates for September 27th. Thank you for watching. I shall see you soon. Until then, take good care of yourself and stay safe.